Now I'm going to talk about the output statement and the end variable. Let's refamiliarize ourselves with the data set. I have 3 variables and 5 observations, as before. And one way that we found to delete a single observation, in other words, a single row of the data, was to use the delete statement. So we said if y is missing, if that's a missing variable for that particular observation, then we're going to delete it. And when we print that out, this is what we get. Now we only have 4 observations because we got rid of that missing observation. So now another thing that we could do is use this output statement. The first thing that I'm going to do is use this logical not equal to. So in other words, if y is not equal to this dot, in other words, if y is not missing, then I'm going to output this data set. So let's see what happens. When I run this, I essentially deleted that missing observation. It's just another way of doing the same thing. Now let's look at this end variable. So when I scroll down here and look at this new data set, first thing I'm going to do is bring in this one data set. Remember, the one data set is this data set up here, our original data set. I've got 3 variables, x, y, and z, and 5 observations. So I bring that in, and then I create a new variable, end equals last. Now let's see what the original data set looks like. If I print this out, this is what happens. I've got x, y, and z, and then the next thing I did was I created this last variable. I titled it last. You can call it something else, but end is the name of the variable in SAS. So end equals last, and then what this does is it creates this variable that has all zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0, except for the very last one, which is a 1. So it's an indicator variable, essentially. So then I can print this out to just show you what it does. If last equals 0, then output, if we run that, that gives us the first 4 observations of the data set. You can see where these were 0, 0, 0, 0, and this last one was a 1. So it only printed these observations that had a 0 in them. These were all zeros for that last variable. Now, if you notice, SAS didn't actually print this last variable. It's hidden. It just won't show it to you. It's just in there. Here's one more illustration. This time I'm using an if-then-else logic statement. So what this does is, this is the conditional statement. If this statement is true, then I'm going to put those observations in a new data set called small x. If that logic statement is not true, in other words, else, I'm going to put that observation in a data set called large x. So let me go ahead and print both data sets, small x and large x, I'm going to print out. So you can see how this is the original data set. If x was less than or equal to 5, so this first observation, the second observation, and the 5th observation should be in the small x data set. And sure enough, there they are. This is the small x data set. It just got those observations that had small x's. And then this is the large x data set.